Hello, RotoBallers. The message this week is simple. Start them if you got them. The bye-week blues are in full swing. The bye-apocalypse is among us. This week, there are 6 teams on a bye, and those 6 teams are the Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville Jaguars, Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks. That's 4 or 5 defenses that fantasy managers were starting every week, now completely off the board. To make things a little bit more challenging, the Minnesota Vikings head to Los Angeles to face the Chargers on Thursday Night Football, which means if you follow these weekly videos, that's 2 more teams off my board. With that said, here are 5 defenses fantasy managers can stream with confidence in week number 8. Starting with the Atlanta Falcons as they take on the Miami Dolphins. Miami's offense revolves around Devin Achane and Jalen Waddle, and you throw Darren Waller in there too. And last week against the Browns, Waller, he left that contest early due to injury, so his status this week is still to be determined. Waller's average depth of target was 11.1 yards, yet somehow, I don't know how to explain this, he injured himself on a play he wasn't even targeted on. But that's a story for another day. I digress. Miami, they entered this contest 27th in total yards, averaging 279 yards of total offense per game, and 26th in total points scored, averaging 20 points per game. Against the Browns, another solid DST start, by the way, this week. Tagovailoa, he was held to 12 of 23 passing for 100 yards and 3 interceptions, while Waddle, he was held to just 1 catch for 15 yards. And if it wasn't for Devin Achane's 98 scrimmage yards, the Miami Dolphins may not have even moved the ball at all in that contest. As for the Falcons, they had a decent outing against San Francisco last week, who welcomed back George Kittle to their lineup, and they held Mac Jones and a Christian McCaffrey-led offense to just 20 points. Atlanta, they have forced 9 turnovers this season, the 5th most in the league, while Atlanta also entered that contest against the 49ers, averaging 7.6 fantasy points per contest, which had them inside the top 10 in fantasy DSTs. Another defense I'm firing up this week. How about the New England Patriots against the aforementioned Cleveland Browns? New England's 18 sacks this season, that ranks 8th in the NFL, and they face a rookie quarterback whose team has allowed the 11th most sacks this season. This is one of those game scripts that features one of the best defenses against an offense that ranks 30th in points scored. Meanwhile, only the Titans and the Bengals are currently throwing for fewer yards per game than Cleveland, who averages 270.7 passing yards per contest. Assuming Cleveland continues to struggle on offense, although Quinshon Judkins was a bad man last week, then Dylan Gabriel may be asked to throw more than usual, which goes against everything that the Cleveland Browns do best. Remember, this is a Patriots defense that averages 9.3 fantasy points per game, which is more than DJ Moore, Ramondre Stevenson, or David Njoku. New England also happens to be one of the more opportunistic defenses in the entire league, forcing 5 interceptions, 4 fumbles, and 9 total turnovers, which ranks 6th, while Cleveland has turned the ball over 8 times in 7 games. Cleveland, they're also allowing opposing defenses to average 10 fantasy points per game. That means we're looking at a defense here in New England that could score double digits again this week. Another defense I'm firing up, another good one here. How about the Indianapolis Colts as they take on the Tennessee Titans? Speaking of opportunistic, only the Chicago Bears, who have 16, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have 14, have forced more turnovers this season than the 11 that the Indianapolis Colts have forced so far. Of those 11 turnovers, 9 have been of the interception variety. While Tennessee has simplified things for Cam Ward, the biggest issue facing the rookie is the fact that he has been under siege much of the season, and he's been sacked 30 times, including 5 more times last week against the New England Patriots. Only the Seahawks and the Patriots are currently averaging more fantasy points per game this season than the 8.9 which the Colts have averaged, while opposing DSTs are averaging 12 fantasy points per contest against the Tennessee Titans this season. Another defense I'm firing up. How about the Chicago Bears as they head to Baltimore to take on the Ravens? I wanted to add a little bit of a shock and awe play, and the Panthers, they're coming off a 17-point performance in week number 7, and the Bengals, they happen to be playing a New York Jets team that has yielded a league-worst 31 sacks this season. Both those teams were up for consideration, but the Chicago Bears facing Lamar Jackson could be a play in which fantasy managers are looking to fade this week. Not so fast. I mean, again, after scoring 20 or more points in each game Lamar Jackson has played in, and 30 or more in 3 of the 4 contests, the Ravens offense, it has sputtered under Cooper Rush. scoring just 13 points over the last 2 weeks. If Jackson can't go, then yes, Chicago is a smash play. But it gets interesting because if Jackson does play, we need to look at Chicago's resume. The Bears, they're averaging 8.3 fantasy points per game. That is 6th amongst DSTs. Their defense, they have allowed 15 touchdowns this season, but they've also come away with 11 interceptions and 16 total turnovers this season, while adding 12 sacks in those 7 games. This is best versus best if Lamar Jackson plays. And you know what? Chicago, they may be one of those teams that you can slide in your lineup that everyone's fading because it is the Baltimore Ravens. It is Lamar Jackson. But let's give the Bears their due. Another team that I'm firing up this week, how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they take on the New Orleans Saints? Beggars, they can't be choosers, and if you can get 6 points or more out of your DST, consider that a moral victory. This season, the New Orleans Saints have been a consistent option to start defenses against, as they have allowed that 6 point per game threshold that we speak of. Other teams playing this week, New Orleans is 297.9 total yards of offense per game. That is the 8th fewest, while the 17.9 points per game that they're scoring is the 3rd fewest. While Spencer Rattler, he doesn't exactly instill fear into opposing defensive coordinators, does he? Looking at the law of averages, if New Orleans is allowing 6 points per game and they've allowed 15 sacks this season, and the Buccaneers are averaging 5.8 points per game and have sacked opposing quarterbacks 16 times, then Tampa Bay may be the perfect solution, sitting on that waiver wire to get managers by this week. Managers who have been rostering and counting on Seattle, Detroit, Arizona, Jacksonville, or the Los Angeles Rams. And if you're looking for someone to count on, make sure to hit that like and hit that subscribe button, and make sure you head over to RotoBaller.com for all the latest news and fantasy analysis. We'll see you next week.